Fourty. Welcome back to our show. And wow, we are so happy to be back here, Frank. This is episode what?
I've lost count.
Okay, we can't, we don't even know. I think it's 16, 17, but it doesn't really matter. Today we're going to be talking about keeping the faith. Keeping the faith, guys. You know what? Since Rona, checked in, it's been tough for all of us. I mean, things changed. The abnormal became the normal. But for those of you who are watching us for the first time, please like, share, and subscribe. We have so many other interesting things that we have talked about. Please check out our videos on YouTube, on Facebook. Share widely to your friends. Let us talk about life, because for us it is about reflecting on our journey and bringing it out to you, so that you don't make the same mistakes we made in our earlier years. So Frank, since February, is it February or March?
Yep.
Things just took a dip, basically. That is on my end. I mean, I don't know if you if you've gone through a few challenges here and there, due to so many other things. I mean, economic pressures that, of course, that have come with the coronavirus.
Well, I mean, it's interesting. Remember, COVID-19 as it's called. Some people are wondering why it's called COVID-19. I mean, it's basically because it started in 2019. That's why the 19 comes in. But when this thing started out there, a number of countries were not, people had it and thought it's just going to be out there.
Yeah.
Right? And by the time it was hitting home, it found so many people not ready for it and not prepared. And that's why you will have people closing, like in Kenya. We closed our borders when we had 10, 15 cases. And then later, we reopened when we had 1,000+ cases. It just tells you how preparedness for some of these things, it's a bit of a challenge.
Yeah.
But if I bring it down to my own personal experience, wow, I mean, my travel schedule changed. I'm constantly on air, constantly traveling. February all the way to October, there's no travel. Being grounded. From an economic perspective, I think businesses were hit. And guys, we are shooting right here on Pete's Cafe, and we are trying also to observe social distance. And I tell you, economically, a number of things were hit. Restaurants had to close down. People had to be retrenched. Hospitality industry, literally on its knees. Millions and millions of people had to go home. So remember, when your neighbor and the other person is being affected, automatically it's going to affect you.
Very true.
You cannot run away and say it's not affecting me.
Correct.
So myself, having to be grounded, there are some positives and there are some not so good stories as well. Because when you're grounded, it means a number of things are not happening, a number of things are not moving. So I would crown it by just saying, COVID happened. You had to believe in a number of things. From a business perspective, people say it's a good crisis. Never let a good crisis go to waste. So sometimes the opportunities of what you can do. But at the same time, we also have to be cognizant of the fact that people are losing jobs. And you cannot be happy when you see lives, mothers, fathers not being able to go to work.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Wow, it's been tough, and I think at an individual level, from my own experience, just like you, of course, I travel quite a bit. In fact, my last flight, I think, was 2 days before we closed the airspace. And of course, now the new norm became being on ground. Like, basically you're forced to, be in that house and work from there, whatever you can. And of course, when borders closed and, we had the curfew, it was all about being confined to the house. And I can tell you from coming from a place where I was, seeing clients, doing therapy in an office, I had to completely, turn things around and do my sessions, via Zoom. But talking about economically, it has not been easy. No matter how, every other thing aside, because I mean, money makes the world go round. There's that common saying. And I realized that a lot of the clients I was, coming into my space were getting depressed because of the economic hardships. okay? And for me, being in that space, because I mean, we got the pay cuts, you know, and you're thinking, wow, is this my salo? Am I, you know, you're really in that space where you're thinking, okay, you have to now start using what you have saved, and it's not getting better. So it's been a couple of months, and you're thinking, okay, can this thing just end, you know? But I've been forced to, you know, and that's why I say, you know, during hard times, you really need to keep the faith, you know? And it gave me that, you know, that time to think through my life and ask myself tough questions. Tough questions like, if this became the new normal, like entirely, like this thing is not gonna go away this year and probably in the early months of next year, what do I need to do to ensure that I can be able to, you know, stay resilient, you know, stay focused and still achieve much amidst all this, you know? First thing, God. I mean, the Bible says, and I like to quote, and I always say, we don't really push people into our own religion, but I think I'm also allowed to share what I believe in. And the Bible says that some trust in chariots, I trust in the name of God. You know, there are those times that even money itself will not help you. Take, for example, a case scenario of whereby probably maybe a relative got the virus and you're trying left, right, you have the money, but then things are getting worse from, you know, just having this, you know, being asymptomatic to symptomatic to the ventilator and, you know, God forbid. So at the end of the day, you realize that what you need is mental muscle. And that is what I have done during this period. First of all, from a spiritual perspective, I have taken so much time to read the Bible, understand it deeply, and apply. Because right now, Frank, I don't have an excuse. I'm not boarding a flight to go, you know, wherever. You know, I am on ground. So I have enough time, not only with myself, but with my family. And that spiritual muscle has really, really helped me keep the faith during these tough times.
On the same note, I mean, and I want to be really brutal on this. When we just talk about faith in itself, how do I tell somebody to have faith and they've lost their jobs? How do I tell a father of 3 boys, a father of girls, a mother of a single mother, you know, a single dad? How do you encourage this person to still have that faith and belief? This person doesn't know how they're going to pay their rent, they don't know what food they're going to eat, and I mean, when faith comes in, and to your point, you're saying you had faith in the spiritual being. I'm sure there's some people sit back and say, where is God in these times? You know, when we go to the ground, how do we bring it to these people? How do we bring it to certain people and tell them, you need to have a spiritual muscle, you need to have faith? Because at the end of the month, I'm being thrown out of the house, I don't have rent. I mean, how should we look at that?
You know, faith is seeing things from the end. It's seeing things as they were, but they're not yet there. Okay, it's the substance of seeing, you know, and the hope of seeing things. When people went for healing, if you look at you did CRE, we're being told about how Jesus went and healed people, and he'd ask you, what do you want? You've come, you're blind, you're lame, what do you want? You had the faith, but he had to activate. You see, so there are 2 things. God activates, and that's why the spiritual muscle comes in. But you also have the role to play, okay? You have to get to where the lame had to get to where Jesus was. Okay, it was not done via phone call, you see. So there's a role that each one of us has to play in whatever capacity. Whether you're going through financial issues, you have to start from somewhere. Think through and say, I want to achieve this. I need to pay my rent. I don't have my job, but what can I do? What skills do I have? And not just sit there and say, I'm lame, I will not be able to walk. You see, so you have to, take the first leap. I will do this. I'll go out there and sell masks. You see? So at least it keeps you also busy, because depression is also sort of like an isolation disease where you have a situation, a tough situation, a challenge, okay? And then you're isolated. You have no support system. You have no motivation. But going out there, you meet people who are going through the same things. And that's why we form therapeutic groups where you talk about issues. Okay, and guys, for those of you who are also having, you know, going through difficult challenges during this, especially during this season, please, if you can, join support groups. You know, I understand when you bring things, you know, we talk about bile, eh? This is where depression sinks in, eh? This is the area. And when you're able to bring out your frustrations and your challenges, trust you me, you feel much, much better letting go. You know, by
Okay.
talking you let go. But when you try and hide and try and make people, you want people to just think you're okay, everything is going on well for you. That is where now depression hits you so hard. And Frank, it is sad to say this, from a mental wellness perspective, I've seen quite a number of people commit suicide. And the sad thing is they were isolated.
And it can
Guys,
be
please,
avoided.
yes. If you are going through tough times, please, one thing that I'd like to request you, do not isolate. Please do not isolate.
Okay.
Yes.
So, and again, just bringing the question of faith, because you've really brought it out so well. There's this quote that says, God does not bless you for the guys who are salaried. God does not really bless you based on your bank account. God blesses you based on the dreams that you have, right? So if your dreams are limited to your salary, if your dreams are limited to what you have, if your dreams are limited to the job that you have, that is the fact God is going to bless you. But if you have bigger dreams and you're thinking ahead, God is going to bless you based on that wider thought process that you have. Now, the other time I posted something on my Instagram, Frank, on Brutal Facts, and I saw Kerry was quick to call me. Kerry's our producer. And what I'd said simply was, if God cannot choose for you your salvation, why do you think God is going to choose for you a marriage partner? Because salvation, I choose to be a Christian.
Yes.
I choose to be a Muslim.
Yes.
So if God cannot choose that for me, right? What that means is, and just to add to your story, is as much as we have faith in God, it's always said faith without action is
Dead. True.
So yes, during COVID times, we need to have the faith, but let's put some action to it. God has given us free will. We should be able to make decisions. We should be able to sit back and say, this has happened. And guys, I know it's not easy. You know, some people say it's easier said than done. But what else do you have to do? Your faith comes in, you inject some action into it, and start seeing, do I need to get into some groups? Do I need to to call some people? Do I need to even take a few steps back and reevaluate myself? So during COVID times, faith and action should take precedence, not just faith in its own and standing by itself.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think faith is the action, and then the reaction is what God does when He's seeing you move. There's a book called Who Moved My Cheese. You realize that you have to make a certain leap. You have to, to make at least the first few steps for you to see certain results, okay? And I feel, and to your point, you said, God cannot choose for you a marriage partner. It shows your action. You have a role to play. I have met Frank. I love Frank. God, do you approve of Frank? I already did my part. So God comes in now and now blesses that union or says, no, I feel this person is not the right person for you. Yeah. So faith, I think I always say, faith starts when you, at the end of everything, when you have literally nothing. I have noticed, every time I'm on Mombasa Road or whatever, families are taking walks together. It has taken COVID to bring families to either bring families together or expose the ones that were almost breaking, because there are those who decided, hey, it's been real. I can't have lived with you in this house. 30 days, 24 hours, it can't, So at the end of the day, I believe that tough times bring what? Tough decisions. Okay? Yes. And those tough decisions are what we call now the faith. Because they're tough. It's something that you have to think outside the box.
There are actions that you have to put in place. I think you really said an interesting point here, that a number of things have changed. Families are going for walks. People are going for exercises. Some families have been united. Some families have fallen apart, right? And there's this thing that I always talk about, and people like to run away from it, guys, is you call them the office husbands and the office wives. Frank, you really like that statement. I like that because it's true and it's a fact. It is there.
Do you have one?
No, I don't. But I know it is there and it's true, guys. They're the ones who are hard hit.
Yeah.
So COVID happened, and what I'm happy, the reason I bring this out in the corporate space, because this is happening a lot.
Yeah.
Be it a manager, on a subordinate or some, it's happening a lot, right? When COVID happened, this is one of the areas where some families ended up now having full time with their husbands, full time with their wives, and they were glued back together.
Exactly.
And the ones that were not meant to be, because of these exposés and everything, just fell apart. Sometimes falling apart is not a bad thing. It just means you need to start a new life and a new page, and God has shown you some light, and you move on. But overall, COVID, be it in the family setting, in the social setting, in the economical setting, even in the businesses, there are people who've made money through COVID. In the right way, not the one we're calling COVID millionaires. No. In the very, very right way. So faith and action is what is going to help. But we also appreciate and understand people are going through tough times. But don't just sit to your point. Do something about it.
Very
It's
true.
not easy, but do something about it. And again, we are sharing this from
our own experience,
and
guys.
being 40.
Yeah.
You know, at 40 we can easily have a certain
Yes,
level of conversation
yes,
the way we
yes,
see it.
yes.
Somebody who's 30 and 20 might be having a different lens because you're still living with your parents. You might not know the pain your parents are going through. So at 40, being parents, we can give a lens in terms of you having taken some pay cuts and it's a bit challenging, but you're still here.
Yes.
You believe in yourself, you're doing other things, right? On the other side, being a father of boys, trying to see how can I diversify, what is it that I can do? So that's how we look at COVID, that's how we look at it, that's how you look at it.
Yes,
How do you look at it?
exactly.
Because guys, this is what we see from where we sit. Again, our right is not the only right. When it comes to COVID-19, a lot of experiences, a lot of views and thoughts are out there. What's your story? And what exactly do we have to think about when it comes to COVID-19? What are the benefits? What are some of the downfalls? Share, guys. And remember, like, share, and subscribe.
Oh yes, I think you've said it all, you've wrapped it very well. And one thing I'd just like to emphasize, please, 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 in as much as we are encouraging you to keep the faith, please do not isolate when you are depressed. Call someone you can look for, as a great support system, because we are in this ship together. Everyone is affected, companies, individuals, whatever, everyone is affected. What you need is a good support system other than the faith. So keep it here, keep it locked. This is Being 40. Hi guys, welcome back to Being 40. This is the Mind Spell moment where we talk about psychological facts. This is common saying that goes by faith without action is dead. And I'd like to bring that now into your perspective from a psychological theory. Now, we always say our mindset affects our behavior, and our mind also affects what we say. So faith is an action of what you have already planted in your mind as a seed. During tough times, you have two options: to think positively or to think negatively. What we say, being optimistic or being pessimistic. But at the end of the day, it is your action that affects those people who are around you. It is your action that affects how God will come through for you. So at the end of the day, it starts with you. What do you have in your mind? Okay? Let's look at a scenario whereby you have lost your job, okay? And you have two options. Number one, to just sulk and just, die of depression. Or you have the other option, which is option 2, of going out there and trying to make an income. Now, when you take the first steps, that is the action. And the reaction comes from now what life gives. Remember, there's the law of attraction. You get what you give. So by working hard, by thinking positively, by planting that seed of positivity, what you get back is positive vibe. But remember, whatever you do, you have to have strategy, okay? You have to speculate. Yeah, think of the returns. Don't just go and leap somewhere and say, okay, I'm waiting for the. No, you have to be strategic. Follow the principles of life and you will never be disappointed. But remember, at the end of the day, everything starts from here, including your own faith. So conclusively, if you're out there facing challenges, what I'd like to encourage you is keep the faith. But remember, faith without action is dead. Once again, this is the Mind Spa moment.
Greetings, how are you? Frank Mola, Brutal Facts. We're talking about faith during the time of COVID-19. Guys, if there's a time people need more encouragement, it is now more than ever. If there's a time that you need to channel your inner Newton to come out, this is the time you need to do that more than ever. I'll tell you, a virus never responds to public opinion. Any disease will never respond to any public opinion. COVID-19 is here with us. What do we need to do? How you respond matters. How you react matters to it as well. Now, I'll tell you, and these are brutal facts. We will pray. We will worship. We will go to church every Sunday. We'll go to mosques every Friday. But remember, faith without action is dead. It's a brutal fact. You go out there, God has given us the free will. God has given us the way to go out there and do it ourselves. It is not easy, I know, but we cannot sit back and also say we are giving up. We cannot give up. This is not the time to give up, guys. It's not easy, it's very tough, but remember, God has given us a free will to make decisions. As we pray to God, make sure your faith is strong, all right? And always, like I always say, please apply your 10-10-10 in everything that you do. Apply your 10-10-10. You've lost your job. You've lost, you've had a pay cut. Just do your 10-10-10. If I do what I'm trying to do now in the next 10 seconds, 10 minutes, 10 hours, 10 days, 10 weeks, what's the result? If you decide to sit back, if you do 10-10-10, you have your answer. If you decide to sit back to diversify, you have your answer. Depending on whichever angle you look at it, we need more encouragement more than ever today. Engage your inner Newton, let it come out. Brutal Facts with Frank Mola. I can only wish you well where you are, and we're going to cross this bridge. Going back to being 40. Thank you for watching.
Ukisema umetenda. Watumishi wako umewapa yote waombayo, ikiwa umependezwa. Uamualo hakuna wa kulipinga, hakika we ni Mungu wa vyote. Unatawala dunia na vilivyomo, makuu umeyatenda Jehova.